Alright, let's talk a little bit about returning functions here. Let me make a new project here. Let's see. I'm gonna our parameter functions. Let's talk parameter functions. So I'm gonna call this param function in my new application here. It's gonna hit next. Uncheck this precompile header. Alright, so yeah, I think one thing that I haven't talked about yet is how to pass a value to a function and what to do with it and everything. So I'm just going to make a little video here on how to do that. So let's see. First thing I need to do is I need to include my IO stream here, and I need to use my default namespace as well. And yeah, so first thing we need to do here is we need to declare a function. And I'm going to declare a function called sum, because I think it's probably a demonstration that a lot of people can relate to, and it's a pretty commonly used one right now to create a function that adds a sum of something together or that displays a number. So maybe we'll do both. So, alright, so I'm going to declare my little precursor up here at the top, and I'm just going to call it sum. And then in between these parentheses here, I'm going to actually declare another variable, and I'm going to call it int value. And right, like any other, and don't let this throw you off. I mean, it's nothing different. All I did was so instead of declaring right a function with nothing in between these parentheses, now I just put something in between these parentheses. And the only thing it wants to know is what is the type and what do you want me to call it. That's all it cares about, right? And it's the exact same format, right? We have the data type and the name. We have a data type and the name. Only difference for methods or functions, whatever you want to call them, is that it has these parentheses. And here we have what's called a parameter. And parameters you can use to pass values. So let's see. So I have int sum and I have int value, and let's see. So I'm gonna need to now redeclare my function down here, int value. Right, and I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to return value plus 10. That's what I'm going to do. That'll be my sum for right now. That's a static variable. This is a mathematical operator here, right? All it's doing is it's taking whatever value I pass into this function, and it's adding 10. It's not incrementing it by 10. It's adding 10 to it. I guess you could say it increments it. I don't know. So yeah, all we did was we declared our precursor, we declared our function down here below the main, and and that's it. So far, yeah, nothing to be terrified about here yet. So, all right, and at this point, let's see, we're going to save this. I'm going to call it int return value, and I'm going to call it sum. And see, now it's expecting int value, and it's saying, oh, I'm expecting you to put something in here. I'm not going to know what to do if you don't. So I'm going to pass another 10 in there, because hey, we all, I think, can add values of 10 together pretty quick, pretty easy. So, right, so now whatever this function is going to return something, it's going to return a data type, and then it will return the data type of integer, which is the parameter we passed, plus 10. So it's taking this number, adding 10 to it, and returning that, and we're saving it. And then all we're going to do is we're going to display it now. We're going to say cout. The return value was, or we'll say is, it still is. We're working on our tense here. Return value. And let's see, in line. All right. And that's really it. I mean, that's just a simple explanation of how to uh, add this or add a parameter to a function. So I'm going to build it here really quick, and then I'm going to debug it, Control F5. And let's see, the return value is 20, and that's what we expected, right? It printed out 20. It passed 10 into this function, and then it returned the value, whatever we add. So let's change this really quick. Let's change this to 13. So it should be 23. Let's rerun it here really quick, and for proof of concept, demonstration purposes, all good things, right? 23, right? So it took whatever the value is that I passed, the parameter, and it added 10. And now let's do one more thing. Let's rename this. I'm going to call this first value, comma, int second value, right? And now suddenly we're going to pass two values, or two parameters in here, right? They're both expected to be type integer, right? Int second value, int first value. All right, so now we need to see down here, it has the original function still, so we need to change this. So first value and int second value, right? It needs to match our precursor. And suddenly now we can actually return the sum of a number. And let's say all we do is first value plus second value, and now it's going to return these two values that we passed through together, these two parameters. It's going to take the first parameter, int value, and it's going to take the second parameter, second value. It's going to add them together, and it's going to return them, and we're going to save the return in this function, in this value up here. So, and now see up here, it's confused. It's like, hey, I'm expecting two things. You're only giving me one. That doesn't quite work. I'm tweaking out. I'm atypical here. So now all we have to do, right, and just like we put a comma in our to separate our parameters up here, we're going to put another comma, and we're going to say we'll say 14. So that should give us 27. Right? Some little quick math there. So now we gave it our sum two values. We said we want you to add these two values together. We want to save it to our return value, which is also declared as an integer, and then we want you to print it out. So that's what we're going to do here. I'm just going to build our function. I'm going to run it here, and there we go. See, the return value is 27, just as we expected here. So that is just a quick little way to pass parameters. Maybe I'll make one. A lot of times there's a request to do for loops. They say print out a function that takes a parameter and prints out some string so many times. So maybe I'll do that in the next video here. So, all right, and that's the end of this video.